How you guys doing? Another Wednesday, another critique video. I don't know that I'm going to call them critique video, reaction video. A reaction. People like to call people like to do reaction videos more than they like to call it critique because it sounds mean, and I'm not trying to be mean. So if none of you guys that are watching now have watched my previous 8, 9, 10 videos that I've been doing for every Wednesday, I run across videos on YouTube where people are trying to do tile work, or specifically, if they're trying to build a shower. And when I see it, I have a lot of questions about it. I question a lot of methods that people use because tile and building shower and bathroom renovation is not a monolith. There's all kinds of different ways to do it, but it has to be done right so it doesn't fail. Having said that, when I do these critique videos, it is specifically aimed at people that are trying to teach. I'm not trying to bash a homeowner or DIYer. Um, if I do a video with a DIY type of person or homeowner or something like that, it's more to give not a critique, but useful information. Put it like that. But I haven't got there yet because there's enough people on YouTube that are trying to teach how to do something and they're showing stuff wrong. So I'm gonna move on because this is a long, long video. This video was actually originally, I think, 45 minutes long, and I cut it down to like 15 or 20. 15 or 20 will make my video 45 minutes because I got a lot to say about this. It gets interesting. I don't know the guy's name. Obviously, there's follow, like, subscribe, or whatever that he posts in here later. You'll see that. So obviously, he's trying to teach, and for that reason, yeah, I'm going to put in my 2 cents worth. So let us follow along. Let me hit the play button.
Okay, we're going to be preparing the shower pan for tile. So what we need to do is clean this up a little bit, but I need to snap some lines from this drain here to the wall so that we have enough pitch for the water to flow to the drain, obviously. So what I'm going to do is put the level around like this over here, mark it, draw some lines all the way around here. And then we're gonna put in our wire mesh, some pea gravel around the drain to protect the weed poles, and then we'll be floating our cement. What I use is a stucco mix, and we'll be floating that out with our pitch then. And now I'm gonna snap the lines. So right there is level, and then we want to go up about a ½ inch from level. So it looks like I'm about a ½ inch from the bottom of that cement board, but we're just going to bring it up to about there. Let's just check with the bubble. I basically want this bubble to just hit the side here. That way I'll have an accurate reading for all the way around if I just keep that consistent. So
okay, I'm going to stop it here because this is getting very, very boring very, very quickly. It was for me. As I said, this is a 45-minute video that he made, and I'm going to say he spent an inordinate amount of time trying to get this line marked on his wallboard so he knows where his mortar goes up to. Let me say this: laser level. Laser level. This dude, I swear, I got so impatient watching him trying to draw a line, mark a line on his wallboard, that I had to fast forward. In fact, I clipped, for your purposes, because I saved you a lot of agony, for your purposes, I cut out probably 10 or 12 minutes of him trying to draw this line. Laser level. If you're trying to make a line, use a laser level. Can I say that again? Because using this level and him putting his head down and all this stuff is driving me crazy. Plus, he's only going up maybe 3/4, maybe an inch or so. So it's not a very, how would I put it? It's not a very deep pre-slope. Having said that, This isn't a pre-slope. This is actually this is where he's measuring for his mortar pan. And there's a lot of things that I have to say about this method that he's using, but I'm gonna let it continue until I get impatient again.
Bring it down. I'm not putting this level on the top of the drain because you have to account for your tile, the thickness of the tile itself. Since we want the top of the tile to end flush with the top of this drain, we need to be down below the drain, about at the bottom of this metal here cap. So that's where I'm holding the level at. Okay, so that's level, and then we're going to come up a ½ inch about. ½ inch. Okay, so we're going to be right there.
Just do it already. Just do it.
There, have a mark there. I'm gonna run a longer level all the way across there and just get a solid point of levelness. The point of what? The common point of levelness. Is that a word? Common point of levelness.
This absolutely, this is driving me crazy. So he puts his level on the wall, right? He puts his level on the wall where he's made his little marks, and then he turns upside down so that he can mark his line along the level. I'm not trying to be trivial here. I'm just saying work harder. He's working harder. He is beating himself up trying to get this line, and it doesn't make any sense because the easiest way is whatever screed board that you have laying around is going to be I don't know, an inch and a quarter, inch and a half, or whatever that he needs to mark that line. Just put your board up there, put the level on top of the board, and mark your line and be done with it already. If you don't have a laser level, make it easier on yourself. This guy is turning upside down so he can mark his line, and it's very bizarre. Anyway, moving on.
We're making up words here. It's gonna be hard to draw underneath that thing.
It's hard to draw underneath, you think?
I have to get right here with it. Got it. Yeah, tell me you can use it.
Yeah. The plastic over there? Yeah. Are you using it? Yeah.
I gotta move this forward. Sorry, guys.
That looks pretty good, so.
Look at that.
That'll do.
Okay, a couple of things I want to talk about right off the bat, right off the get-go here. And I've already talked about the stupid amount of time that this guy has spent drawing his line, right? Because there's so many different and easier ways to do this. But beyond that, look at that little quarter-inch, little ½ inch that he has between his backer board. Now that backer board happens to be hardy backer, and it will absorb water. It will absorb water. This isn't what I think. This is what I know. And it's attached to the studs, and the studs will rot out. This alone will make this shower fail. It's going to take a while, but it's going to fail because that backer board is going to wick up all his water. Because he's gonna pack all his mortar up against that backer board. And I think he says later on, well, the reason I do that is to push the backer board up against the studs. Yeah, but you can use screws. Like if all you did is waterproof your shower, you can use screws all the way down 2 or 3 inches if you want to. And then he shows the screws, like the last screw is probably 6, 7, 8 inches up the board or whatever. We're going to get to that a little bit later. The other thing I want to talk about is this black, right? So this black shower pan liner, I'm thinking to myself, where have I seen this before? Because I don't really recall seeing black shower pan liner. I've used black shower pan liner before. That's a pond liner, literally for your outdoor pond. It's a very thick material. It's made by a tire company. I forgot which one, Firestone, I think. Because I had an extremely large shower in this $1 million house, and the guy was really analytical, like he had an engineer hat, and he wanted to make sure that I didn't glue pan liner together for his extra large shower. So the only option that I had was to find a shower pan liner wide enough to cover the span of his shower. And I decided, I went and found pond liner, and I spent it was probably, I don't know, $400 or $500 for this huge piece of pond liner, and my customer agreed to use it. That's the only time I've seen black pan liner, which was pond liner. This, on the other hand, is a hot mop. So we're going to move on to that. For a lot of people on the East Coast that don't know what a hot mop is, that's what that is. That's what all that black is that you're seeing on the floor. And we're gonna get to that.
Okay, when preparing your shower pan for tile, after you've put on your cement board, and you're going to have to put the cement down into your hot mop or your shower pan liner, you're going to need this metal wire here.
Let me go back to what he just showed there. I don't know if he did a close-up or not. I was trying to see. Yeah, there it is. That was actually where I was at before. Look at this. Let me see if I can just blow this up by itself. Look at this hot mop material. It's kind of wonky. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. It looks kind of smooth and nice and easy or whatever, but I'm telling you, I don't know if I showed it. I don't know if I showed it good enough. But anyway, that's what a hot mop is. And look at the curb. Look where the curb is at. And you can tell clearly
Your hot mop.
that this is not, how would you put it? It's not nice and straight corners and all this stuff. I don't know. I'm not feeling it. I don't like it at all. And that explains the drain, because I was trying to figure out what kind of drain this is. This is a cast iron drain, and this is the type of drains that they use when they do a hot mop. So this cast iron drain sits up, it looks like about maybe 2.5 inches or whatever. So his mortar material has to go almost all the way up to that. It seems very thick. Just my 2 cents worth on it.
Mop or your shower pan liner, you're going to need this metal wire here, this lath. And what we're gonna do is, because it's about 27.5 inches long, so we can't go this way because we'll have a gap. So I'm gonna run one long piece this way and then another strip for over the dam. I know it's about 5 feet, but it is exactly 58 inches. So I'm gonna cut a piece of this that is 58 inches. What I'm gonna do is just kind of put it up in there so that I can see where I gotta cut out. Let's see if I can do this one hand.
Okay, I'm going to stop this for a minute because I want to talk about this whole idea of wire mesh. This wire mesh, this lathing that people like to wrap around their curb, and I think last week's video, I talked about it also, because that guy also used wire lathing around his curb, like just bent it and all that stuff and put it on top of his curb, so that now he could put his mortar both in the pan and wrap it around the curb. I don't like that idea because it marries those two. When you marry those two, your pan's getting wet and it will wick up water up and through your curb and down the other side. So yeah, you saved your curb by not screwing into the curb, but to what end? Now your outside floor is going to be ruined. Unless you have a concrete floor, your outside floor will be ruined doing it this way. Mm, there's not really good ways to, how would I put it, to make sure that a curb is waterproof, except to waterproof. So if he just did it the way that we're doing it now, just screw all his backer board into the curb and then the way I do it, and then butter your curb and then waterproof the whole thing, and also have that gap between your backer board and your pan material on the inside of your curb, you're golden. You'll never have that problem. But these guys that continue to create a problem for somebody in 5 years or 10 years down the road, they're creating this problem on purpose because they're not thinking like water, and that's all you have to do. This notion that he even used that he even needs this lath. So I'm going to say like this: I don't know. I'm not on the West Coast. I'm from the West Coast originally, but I've been in the South half my life. I don't know the makeup of a hot mop and why he thinks that he needs a lath inside of the pan in order to hold the mortar. Your four sides of your mortar bed hold the mortar. It's not going to crack. If it's done right, you use the right mortar, it's not going to crack. So I don't know why he wants to use this. But I will say this: I have taken out tile before. I've taken out a couple of showers before, where the rust from that wire lath has rusted within that pan and wicked its way up. That rust has wicked its way up into the grout line, into the tile. Tile specifically because this was a marble shower that somebody had built, and they put this wire lathing inside of the pan, and it ruined the tile. The surface of the tile, you could see all the rust stains in it, as well as the grout. And he's not going to waterproof this shower. So he's asking for a problem by putting this. It's totally unnecessary. It's absolutely 100% unnecessary what he's doing here. I don't agree with it. I never will. Nobody could tell me the reason why wrapping your curb with this wire lathe makes any sense whatsoever, especially the way we're doing things now. And I'm not suggesting that he do a foam curb or that he do it my way, but come up with some other way. I don't know. It annoys me that people are showing this time and time and again. It seems like a good idea at the surface level, but if you start giving a little bit of critical thinking and like, ooh, water's going to get my pan and wick up and all that stuff, same as his wallboard. His wallboard is going to wick up water. This whole shower is going to fail within, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years, whatever. Depends on how much is used. But let me get back to it.
I'm going to cut out for the drain here. Now I'm going to cut it out a little bit wide because I got to put pea gravel around the weed poles, and I just want to leave a little room for that. So just going about a 1/2 inch bigger than the drain itself. Looks good and flat basically, and shape here. Those are the weed poles. There's another one, and there's one more right there.
Okay, so these type of drains, these cast iron drains that he's using in order, I'm kind of getting a feel for the girth, the height of that drain. I don't like those drains. I don't like cast iron drains, period. But he says that there's 3 of these. Remember that. That's very important. So the traditional drains that we're using, like the Odi or Sushi or whatever, those are plastic. And not only do you have 6 to 8 weep holes, but you also have the cutouts where the bolts are at. And you also have the troughs that are built into that locking flange at the bottom of it and at the top of it. And you also have cutouts of the inside threads of every drain. There's a cutout. You can see it clearly. There's 2 of them. So there's all kinds of ways for water to egress. With this type of drain, there's 3 holes.
So those 3 weep holes, I'm going to be putting some pea gravel around them.
Now, if you have 3 holes, that's all you have. You don't have those cutouts. Hold on a second. You don't have those cutouts. There are cutouts where the bolts are at, but I think they got smothered with all of that hot mop material, which is basically tar. So I think those bolt hole, I don't know. It's something that I'm not familiar with. So maybe somebody can chime in on that. But if all you have is those 3 weep holes, be careful with those weep holes. And he's not going to be watched.
To keep the cement, the wet cement that I'm about to pour from going like down in there, or over time when if water ever does get through the tile, through the grout or whatnot, and gets down to this hot mop, it's going to follow the hot mop down to those weep holes and go down into the drain, and everything will be all good. So
Okay, so he said it's going to follow the hot mop down there. So my assumption is the way hot mops are done is that the pre-slope is built into it. Because the only way that could possibly happen, the way he's talking, that water would get down to the hot mop and follow gravity, which it can't because wicking action will take over. But anyway, that it will go down into those 3 weep holes. There's 3 of them, and watch this. This is crazy.
make sure those weep holes are good.
Make sure they're good.
Next part is this front dam area. So we got to make some bends on it, basically. So what we're going to be doing, let's see if I can put this camera over here. Just gonna put that on the side there.
I'm going to skip that.
Put this level up. Staples or nails in this, because you don't want any nails below here. Either you don't want any screws or anything in the cement board either below, well, for sure below the dam area.
Okay, the right answer is 3 inches. So you don't want to screw any further down than 3 inches above the curb. Having said that, if you're going to waterproof the entirety of the shower, it's irrelevant. You can put fasteners in anywhere you want because water's not going to get through the wallboard. In this case, it will. And in this case, it will wick up into that wallboard as well.
You know, so we keep our screws up here. And then
when I say 8-9 inches, look how far. that's about 18 inches up is his last fasteners.
I use the cement to keep the bottom pushed in. That's why I always do my cement board first and then the floor, just to kind of just keep the cement board pushed in with the concrete. So
the only anchoring of that 18 inches where those last fasteners are at, 18 inches up, the only anchoring is the mortar bed itself for all of that area. And I only see 2 fasteners, 3. I see 3 fasteners in my eyesight right now. And, you know, like I said, it's a minimum of 18, maybe 20 inches up the wall. I don't like that at all. I don't know. That bothers me a lot.
now the goal is here is to get these bends real tight so that you can have real nice finished edges. So what I'm going to do now that I got it kind of creased is let it back up a little bit here. I'm going to be getting a handful of this pea gravel here and putting it around the weep holes, all the way around the drain here.
Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. I'm going to show it again. This is crazy. I'm going to show it again. I got to show it again. Watch this. Watch this. Let me back up. Let me back up.
You really don't want to skip these steps.
Yeah, you do. I'm going to show you what he's reaching into.
Kind of creased. Just let it back up a little bit here. I'm going to be getting
Watch what he's reaching into.
a handful of this pea gravel here.
It's not just pea gravel. It's all of that dirt in it too.
And putting it around the weep holes.
Look at that.
All the way around the drain here.
Okay. Anybody that watches my channel for any amount of time knows how I feel about this. This is the most insane, ludicrous thing that I talk about, besides pre-slopes. which I'm not going to get into. Putting rocks, any type of dense material around your weep holes is going to guarantee that you're clogging your weep holes. It's going to guarantee it. Put a rock in any kind of hole, right? And little bit of water might go through. But if you put sand there, right, which is your sand topping mix, water has an easier way to get in there. Putting a rock there makes no sense, but it makes less sense putting this garbage. I don't know what this type of rock material is, but it's got all this dirt and all this stuff, right? A couple things about that. When you put that much rock around, I don't believe in rocks around your weep holes. I think it's the most ludicrous, insane idea that I've ever heard of. Well, except for rubber spacers. That's the stupidest thing besides rocks that you would put around your weep holes, because nothing's going to get past rubber. And as you're packing your mortar bed around your weep holes, you're pushing potentially those rocks or rubber spacers into your weep holes. You don't know. And now you're mixing that with the mortar. But beyond that, what you're doing is causing a weak spot, especially on this shower, because he's packing so much of this material around his drain, and all his mortar is going to push up against that weak spot because it's not compact. You can't compact all this garbage that he's just put there. So now your weak spot is around your drain. 100%. It's just, it's you know, plus tax.
You really don't want to skip these steps. Like all the tile and everything that looks so nice is all cosmetic, but all these steps underneath the tile is what's so important.
Important that it doesn't fail, and this is what I don't know. If anybody thinks that this is a good idea, put it in the comments. Let's have chit chat about that, because this is so beyond any comprehension level that I don't know.
For it to work properly for many years. And you don't have a bunch of issues later on in the future.
Yeah. You're right.
There we go. Got our little rock bed around there. And now we're ready for our cement. Okay, now that we mixed up our stucco,
All right, so somebody chime in if, and this is, I think, on the West Coast, stucco, quickcrete stucco mix, and that's what he's using for his bed mortar. Somebody that knows or that uses stucco mix, because I don't know. I will have to investigate that a little further, but if somebody knows, put it in the comment section, because I've never ever heard of stucco mix being used as a mortar pan material.
use pre-mixed stucco out of a bag. Got it mixed up right here. Nice and kind of thick, light, but just a traditional stucco mix. You don't want it too wet so that you can still make your pitch. But we're gonna go ahead and pour that in there.
Yes, it's very, very wet. It's very wet. Being from California, I remember when I was younger that, you know, you would have, there's a lot of stucco buildings and houses and stuff like that, the exterior facade in California. And the stucco guys, you know, had all their materials and their trowel and all that stuff, and they would, it's an art form to create a stucco facade. And it has to be wet, just like he has it. But for a mortar pan, I'm not going to get on too harshly, because it's a little better. It's a little better to have a little wet than too much dry. Because again, with your mortar pan material, I've had the call and emails and text all the time. Why is my mortar, you know, like dusty and crumbly the next day? I'm like, because you didn't mix enough water in it. So it's always better, not too much water. He's on that borderline where there's probably too much water. Another thing that only slightly bothers me, I'm not gonna, there's not really a critique. He's using one bucket when there's gonna be minimum on this shower, 4 buckets of mortar. So mix up 4 buckets of mortar and throw them all in there. He's doing one little section at a time, but that's a minor thing, but it just kind of grates on my nerves. Why do one little area at a time? I don't know.
Just put it like
One more.
What's that?
Here we go.
If I'm not mistaken, that what you're hearing in the background is his partner using a spade bit and a drill, mixing some more stucco mix. And I guess they finally slopped it all in there, and now they're going to slop it around the curb area. This, his. Let me go back. Let me go back a little bit. I'm not going to try and go on. I'm already 30 minutes in. His troweling. Oh, his whole method of troweling this shower pan, I don't. Again, I'm not trying to be really harsh, but ooh, this looks like the first time. It really does. When I told you I had to suffer through this video, 45 minutes worth, to make sure I didn't miss anything, trust me, it was suffering. From trying to get the screed mark, like, like that whole idea of putting the line on there, to putting the wire lathe on, to having his partner make all kinds of noise while he's filming a video. Like, I don't know. And then this whole idea, this is outside of the curb, this whole idea of packing it in with your hand, which is okay, I don't mind, but whatever it takes. So the idea is this. If you look at this backer board, this is hardy backer. So he's got all of this mortar pushed up against the hardy backer, which is also tied to the mortar pan. So when the mortar pan gets wet, it will go up and over. And does he have a wood floor? I think it's a wood floor he's dealing with. So yeah, it's going to ruin this. And this is OSB, it looks like, on his wood floor. So the water is going to go, it's going to travel from the mortar bed up and over his curb and into his wall. See that stud on the right side where his backer board ends? That stud will be rotted out, guaranteed. This isn't something I think, this is something I know. Just because of the mere fact that he doesn't. So at the end, it shows a kind of okay prep. It's not a prep that I would be excited to tile. If somebody did this prep, if this guy, all he did is do the prep and said, hey, Bob, why don't you do the tiling? I would refuse, because it's just a wonky, it's a whole wonky prep. And then on top of that, I don't agree with a lot of stuff. Too much longer, guys. Hold on. Hold on. Not too much longer. A couple more minutes.
Now that this pan is nice and smooth,
Now let it just dry.
This is not a shower that I would look forward to tiling. This is not a shower. If he's done now off camera, and this is where the video ends. Literally, I'm not ending it. He is. If he lets all of this mortar material dry, both on the pan and his curb, this is not a shower that I would look forward to tiling. This is, and I don't want to be too mean on the guy, but this is kind of hackery in a lot of ways that I've already enumerated. I don't like this prep at all. I don't like anything about this prep. That's it. That's the finished product. Now, if all they did was waterproof the entirety, they're golden. If the only thing that they did is all this garbage, well, that being said, I would have done something, proactively to do something with that floor and do something with that curb. I would scrape off I would make it more neat, I would make it more square. I would make it more easy to tile, because everything we do in the preparation stage of building a shower is knowing that we have to go behind ourselves and tile. And any hiccups along the way that we cause is going to be cussing ourselves. But if all they did is waterproof this finale, then they're golden. But they're not going to. I almost guarantee 100%, 100,000%, if that's a number, 100,000%, that they're not going to waterproof anything here. They're just going to tile directly on everything. I tried to be as nice as I could. I thought I was. If any of you guys, tell you what, if you guys think this is a good prep and this is a good way to do a shower, put it in the comment section. If you think it's a bad prep and a bad way to do a shower, put it in the comment section, because I want to see the yes and no's. Like, this is my opinion. When I put these videos out there, I'm not the last word. Anybody watching, all I do is disseminate this information. When you watch it, you tell me what you think. Anyway, that's it. I have a very, very short video going to pop up on Friday. It's the before and after of the shower that I did some weeks ago, and you can watch that. It's only like 10 or 15 minutes long. And then I'm going to be back next Wednesday with another critique video, which I already have in my computer ready to go. It's not quite ready to go, but I'll get it there before next Wednesday. Anyway, guys, have the rest of your week. Today's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah, happy hump day. And we'll see you again next Wednesday. Hey, if you enjoyed that video and you learned something, consider being a Patreon member. $5, $10, $15 a month would help me greatly produce more videos. I make nothing from YouTube at all. If you're going to call me for advice, please donate $50 for 30 minutes. My link to my PayPal and my Patreon account is down below. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so you get immediate notifications as soon as I post videos. And thank you very much for your support.